Welcome to the Mucked Up My Self-Care podcast.
I'm Jill from New York.
And I'm Linda from Tasmania.
We are two moms from opposite sides of the world who are living, demonstrating, and helping moms across the world build their self-care asset bank.
Ready to dive in? Messy, interrupted, imperfect, and most of all mucked up. Let's get going. Hello.
Welcome.
Back again.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited for this conversation tonight, Linda.
I'm excited for
Well,
conversation.
this morning, I don't remember.
Morning for me, night for you. Someone goes past my microphone.
Boy.
Why don't you go first?
All righty.
Highs and lows.
Highs and lows. Hi. I was running out of time between all the things happening today, and I was gonna cook dinner, and I like to cook dinner full meals, but I didn't have the time before getting on to record this episode with you, Linda, to do my whole full spread after washing the produce and getting everything ready. I'm like, nope, I still need another hour to make all this meal. So I had to look in the fridge and see what was there. And I was just gifted a pot of meatballs for Mother's Day. So it was,
one thing off your plate.
Very nice to just have that already set in there. I was able to just throw it right on the stove in the pot it came in and heated them up, made some tortellini on the side, and dinner was ready in 8 minutes. It was fabulous.
I don't know, that saves so much time.
It was a big time saver having that dish available for us. So, low. Declan has not been listening lately.
Whoa.
Yeah. He's been getting in trouble because he's not listening. He's been hitting other kids at daycare and having been talked to, and he got a little punished today for doing something he wasn't supposed to, so we went to bed early, so I don't have any interruptions tonight.
So low to high. Low to high to low. High to low.
What about yours, Linda?
Oh goodness. I managed to get a shower. Yes, it's a good thing, but it was also at the same time having toothpaste squirted on the floor. I have stamps now tattooed up my leg because as soon as I got out of the shower, I got stamped at the same time. And did not sleep much. And this guy's going to keep hitting the microphone, which is awesome. Really didn't get a lot of sleep at all last night. Which feels tiring on my time because I know things are just going to take longer today. Which is a great segue into today's topic.
Which I will have to tell you that I'm in the same boat. I woke up early this morning, like 2 hours before I was supposed to, and I am exhausted. But seriously, time. What do we do about that? If we don't have the time we think we need, how do we find it? Do we find it? Can we go find it? What are your thoughts on that? I love it. It's like, I think, who was it that said that in one of the clubhouse rooms? I don't even remember where that came from, but I knew you and I had talked about it. And we said, we can't find it and we won't make it. Like, what is there to do about time when we don't want to put that effort into it?
And time for self-care, right? What does that actually look like in reality when you're having a shower with two little people that you have to sort of manage at the same time as well?
Through a shower curtain door and and they're both the age that they don't sit still.
Plus both of us wanting to do things in our lives which also require our time and dedication and all the rest of it as well. So like, how long should self-care, how do we fit in the time? Like, I think we're pressured to think about self-care in a way that needs to take an hour a day or half an hour even, or sometimes even 10 minutes is too much.
Oh, definitely.
It's this big task. Like, how long do you think it should actually take?
I think it has so many different factors behind determining that, because especially if we're saying like we won't make extra time for it, or we just don't have the bandwidth to decide. So I've almost compromised. And with that, like, where can I fit in? What can I distract my child with where I can get that self-care in at the same time? And even if it's just playing in the front yard with whatever toys and me sitting in a chair basking in the sun for however long that lasts, I will consider that my self-care, because one, he was occupied. Two, I didn't have to make that extra time to be like, okay, you can go get a sitter and go be seen over here while I can go be alone. I didn't have to be alone. I was independent play is a big role for us in sneaking in that self-care, even if it is only 5 to 15 minutes.
And I think sometimes as well, sometimes you can take 2 minutes extra to set them up with an activity or check in with them or just ask them about their day. For my older two, if you take that 2 minutes extra, you can actually gain another 20 minutes later on. Because if you wait and try to find it before you've addressed some of their needs first, prioritizing our own needs sometimes isn't as effective as we want it to be, because it can take longer to get it if we don't just do those 2 minutes first and then get 20 minutes after that. Instead, we spend 20 minutes trying to fight and get frustrated.
Like cutting corners.
It's like cutting corners.
It's like where we just jump to ourselves and then we end up being interrupted enough where we have to go back to paying attention to them just for those 2 minutes we skipped out on before setting that ourselves up.
And you think about what you were saying about not listening. You know, if you're asking him 10 times in a row, it becomes less effective. You're starting to escalate. By the time you get to the 10th time you're yelling, they've completely shut down and not listening anyway. Instead of asking once and wait, pause, stop, let them register, let them think about it, see what else they're doing. If they're completely distracted when you're asking them to do something, it's like literally like shoving bricks.
And
it just, it's really important to me to actually think about that. And it's easier outside the situation, sure.
So easy. And unfortunately, we don't. Oh, that's when we get the guilt, because we realize after the fact what we could have done differently.
Yep.
So, with that,
that's a whole other podcast, I think. The whole guilt and
that's
making time. I also think it's easy to underestimate how long things take with kids.
For sure.
Like, oh, I'll just pop down to the shop for some lettuce.
Yeah,
and
but
all of a sudden,
the amount of time it's going to take for you to get out of the house, to drive there.
Someone doesn't want to put their seatbelt on, and someone's missing a shoe or sock, or doesn't want to get in the car, and then doesn't want to get out of the car, and then doesn't want to all sorts of like.
Mine runs away.
Yep.
He runs to the neighbor. And then, like, I'm not chasing you.
Yep. And then the other day I walked in, got everything, got to the register, went to pay, and had left the money in the car. So I had to take all the kids back out to the car, come back and try and line up in the queue again. And then I just thought, oh my gosh, why is this not simple? It's a few things. But no. And so it is really easy to underestimate how long things take.
For sure. But then what happens on the opposite side of that, where we put too much on our plate?
Yep.
And mostly because we underestimated how much time everything was taking.
Yep. Or we know a better way. We know that if we cook all the meals for a week on the Sunday, it saves a whole heap of time.
Through the
And so
week.
then, yeah, through the week. And so then when we don't or aren't, or for whatever reason that is compromised, that we don't get that bulk cook on a Sunday, then what happens?
Yep. And your whole week is
We
like
the whole week's like, I know there's such a better way.
yeah.
Why can't I just find a better way? I know that if I ask once instead of 10 times, it will be better, but I still ask 10 times out of habit. Ah.
Yeah. So how do we manage that though? How are you managing that in either avoiding overloading your calendar or overloading just your day in general with decisions and which battles to fight with the kids? And the
Yep.
opposite of that and Tetrising it. Like what are you doing to practice better self-care to manage overwhelm?
Sticky notes help a lot, you know that. Forgiving, being a little bit forgiving if the day just does not go to plan. If I over plan and the other day I sat down when I was really tired and thought, right, I'm just going to have a general idea of how each hour would go, what I'd like to do, whether that's tidy the kitchen from 12:30 to 1:30, or, I know that I have to pick up the kids from school at between 3 and 4, and then sort of help them get back into and no, nothing eventuated in that at all. Got to the end of the day, I was like, literally none of these things in none of these hours. I literally feel like I'm still at breakfast time and could do the whole day again. Just so trying to remember my own overachieving type tendencies, trying not to cut too many corners.
Hey, we're human. It's gonna happen.
Things like the bulk cook helps a lot. Like bulk cooking
I wish I
definitely
could
helps.
figure that one out. I have it on my calendar. That's one of my ways that I have tried to arrange my calendar. So like I have in there my drive time to and from school. So I know how long that takes. And then certain appointments I'll put in there as well. Because Google's fantastic with that one. Like you can pull your calendar open, put in the address into your calendar for the event, and then actually get driving time for that event right in the same screen. And it's been like
Yeah.
major
Wow.
for me. Like everything has a drive time there and back home. So I know exactly when I Tetris my calendar, when my key is to leave and be there on time.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, sticky notes.
Yeah.
I have everywhere.
And I think also, and our friend Izzy talks about this, having a home team. So recognizing that boys do need to pitch in, actually. Quinn pretty much helps me cook dinner if I am doing dinner. But sometimes also very time consuming.
Oh, definitely. It like doubles your cook time if they're chopping and cutting and washing.
Yeah, but that's something he really does love to do. So when I do that bulk cook, sometimes he does feel like he misses out on that part of his routine and his day. So again, am I compromising what is more important in that moment? Because it's but more than anything, I think one of the biggest things I've tried to just let things go. If the house doesn't get much attention for 2 days, the sky does not fall down.
That might be
but that depends.
Yeah, that might be one of the biggest lessons I think I've learned early on in motherhood was shifting my expectations for what I could do in the time I had. And like you're saying, like, could it wait till tomorrow? Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
quite often it can.
I don't exactly like to have the house a freaking disaster when I go to bed, but yeah, I could do it in the morning, no problem, especially if I'm up early before everybody else.
Exactly.
I just had to give myself that grace to
Mhm.
let it
Mhm.
slide for a few days. Because let's be real, it's not one day, it's a few days.
Yep. Yep. It is. Often. Yeah, often. I had this great idea. That I'd just, batch a heap of work, bulk it all up, and then take, 5 days to get my house completely in order and bulk batch that as well. I was like, no, hang on a sec. No, that does not sound like fun. And then all of a sudden something else comes in, like a podcast. I don't know, that we suddenly
Just
have on our
thrown into.
wonderful, wonderful place too. And yeah, it's nice. It's a nice idea, maybe one day, but definitely not at this stage or phase with
Yeah.
babies and toddlers.
It's like we need to plan a week's vacation in quotes to clean the
Mhm.
house. Like, maybe that's what we should do. Send the second parent with all the children away so we can stay home and just do the house all
Yeah,
top to bottom.
yeah, yeah. I don't think I'd actually do it though. I think I'd probably
No.
just be like, oh, sleep. Oh, book. Oh, work.
That's
Oh,
how we
oh.
find and make time is to send them away for a week.
Yep. But one thing I know that you've realized the importance of over the last, really over the last month or so, is what we call tournamenting. So trying to decide, we make a lot of decisions in a day, decide which thing is more important in that moment, or for the day. If we've got a list of 8 things, is it number 1, 5, 7, 3.2, 8, 6, 4, 1? Like, how do you find that helps you, and how's that process been? Because sometimes it's really hard to make a bloody decision on 1 hour sleep. Let's
It
be
is.
honest.
Oh yeah, on 1 hour of sleep, but that's where we have our boom gates that we're gonna protect ourselves and our bandwidth. But if we're waking up in a full bandwidth meter, we are like good to go. We have all our decision powers. Keeping it limited to just a few things per day, first off, and then what is the most important to me that day. So first I've done the practice of doing it for a quarter. So I get everything down on a piece of paper, see what's most important to me for this quarter to achieve, and then break it down in time goals. And then within that time goal, I'm going to say, well, which of these is important for today to work on, and break it down from
Even
quarter
further.
down to day.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing that in the first day that I'm planning. I'm doing it each day since that plan started. And
Yeah.
it helps keep my mind from racing on the other things that are on my list and just stay focused on the goals for today.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And
And I've gone to the stage where I've broken it down too much. So then it becomes, instead of 3 things, it's all of a sudden 15, because I've gone from those 3 that branched off into, like, let's just say it's the kitchen, and then like scrub the sink and put the groceries away and clean the fridge and the dishwasher and the floors and like that becomes then a bit too much, I think.
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh yeah. I stopped putting house things on my list with my sticky notes. Like they just don't get stickies because they live someplace else because of my home team.
yeah, exactly.
And I've shifted my expectations to get those projects or tasks done at the time I thought they should be done.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that takes practice though, and a lot of
A lot.
like grinding teeth at
Mm-hmm.
home team being like, I'm ready to go. Why aren't you ready to go yet? Let's get the train
Yep.
moving.
The time is ticking. Like, the
We're in
time is
spring
ticking.
here in New
Come
York,
on.
and we can be outside every weekend getting these projects done. Let's do it. And then
Yep.
we
Yeah.
go have fun
Don't have,
instead.
and you hear those patterns of things coming up into your vocab that you don't love from your parents, maybe, of I don't have enough time for this. I don't have enough time when I'm on my cranky mum voice. Yep. So anyway, and I also think we're pretty much out of time today.
Yeah.
We need to extend this into another episode though.
Well, I think we might have somewhere that's
episode.
an overflow too. So we'll
I'm
pick
sure.
this back up another time then.
Thanks, Jill.
Well, until next week.
Oh, yes, we do hope you can unstuck your muck.